Corey Gorechrist, DIEnecology Podcast. I'm your DIEnecologist. I have the pleasure of being joined with Anthony and Jonathan of Castrated. They just dropped their new EP, debut EP, off Comatose Records, Surgical Vicissitude, and it's outrageously brutal.
Mhm.
Like it's pretty
Thank you,
insane.
man.
So yeah, it's on my top list already for
Nice.
at least EP of the
Wow, thank
year.
you, man.
Yeah,
I
it's
appreciate that.
absolute just freight train. So I guess let's talk about it. You guys one-on-one just want to, or both, however you want to do it, just talk about, the process of the record or really just forming the band, stuff like that.
I'll let
Well,
Jonathan start, man. This is his baby.
I started it a couple of years ago. I guess it was I guess about 4 years ago now. The whole process of once I got everybody on board, it was about a year long. And I wrote the songs, I guess about 4 years ago, like I said, and I struggled to find members.
Yeah.
And when that came about, I just kind of started revamping the songs, thought maybe that would help. And they just kind of got more in depth and more that the way that they are now. And we had a lot of people come and go, and a lot of people try out, and it was a long process of the member finding, and
Yeah.
which we had some guys at one point, and it just kind of fell apart. I didn't really know what the future was going to hold for the project, and then I think I found Anthony first. I actually hit him up. I didn't think he would be interested or had time. I know he'd recently left Gorgasm. I
Right.
know he had some family stuff and whatever. And so I hit him up asking if he knew anybody. And I guess he took a listen to the songs and said he would be down to do it. And so I struggled to find drummers. And I
They're always the
happened to
hardest
be,
to find.
oh my God, they
It's
are.
so hard
Well,
to
they're
find drummers.
good, but you can find them. They're either in a lot of bands
Yep.
or they don't want it. It's, I guess, when you play something that's super chaotic, there's a lot of time that's going to go invested in learning the
Yeah.
material, and that's a feat in itself. Not only the performance and execution of the material, but also the time that you're going to have to invest. And I started scrolling through drummer pages, and I found Matt, and he sent me some stuff that he had worked on in the past, and I was like, dude, you are like perfect. And he was all about it from the start.
Yeah.
He's like, I'm your guy, and I was like, okay, maybe this dude will work. I was talking
Yeah,
to
we
I
got
think his
lucky.
name.
Yeah.
We got super lucky.
Yeah. He put the work in for sure.
Oh yeah, for sure. He didn't really take him that long either.
Yeah.
He kept saying, well, I'm going to get laid off from my job during off season, and I'll work on it then. And so I was a little concerned and hesitant, but I was like, well, he seemed confident, and I wasn't gonna show him that I was worried. But yeah, I think it only took him like a month or two, a couple months. He went in the studio and just nailed it,
It's just a machine.
dude. Yeah,
It's when you find those kinds of drummers that are down and they're willing to do it, they're committed and like they're gonna put everything into it. So they're rare, but when you find one, it's usually like
yeah.
they're like the most dedicated.
The
So
cherry on top. I was once told that your band's only as good as your drummer, so I was always trying to find the good ones.
yeah.
So,
Mm.
and I contacted a friend of mine up in Fort Worth because I'm in Houston, Texas. So up in Fort Worth,
Okay, yeah.
looking for a bass player. I tried out a bunch, and we had a couple that just kind of pootered out, and they recommended Carlos. And I've known Carlos from other bands. I didn't know him
Mhm.
personally, but being another Texas boy, so we lucked out with him too.
Yeah.
He's a phenomenal
Absolutely.
musician. He's a phenomenal musician, and very knowledgeable and real easy to work with, and very dedicated. He's in a lot of projects. He's got like two jobs. He's got a family. He's got kids,
Damn.
and I sometimes get up real early in the morning, and you can see him on Facebook, and I'll hit him up. He's like, oh, I'm in the studio working. And then a couple hours later he's at work. I'm like, dude, do you ever sleep? So, but yeah, he's another good, solid guy. Real happy with how the project members turned out. I couldn't ask for a better crew, and the the end product far exceeded my expectations. So I'm really excited with it. And I talked to Steve long ago and sent him some of the material, and he was on board from the start, which I'm happy with. Me and Steve go back way back, and done some releases before, and
Nice.
I'm just happy that it worked out the way that it did, man. And it seems to be getting a lot of attention, and people are talking good things about it. So
Yeah. As they should. Absolutely. I mean, it's only been out what, like a week, and it's really It's nasty. I love it. Um,
Hmm.
can't say nothing but good things about it and praise it. So Anthony, I guess talk about what you heard and how it kind of took your interest and just
Man, man, I don't know. From what I heard, what we ended up with was two totally different
yeah.
things, you know. Um, and I don't. There was a point where I was like, man, I don't know if my style is gonna really match this, you know, because a lot of extreme, brutal death, you know, they have the ultra guttural, you
Yeah.
know. Uh, I I mean, I don't have anything against it, man. I think some bands do it really well and it
Yeah.
complements the music, but a lot of times I think it kind of uh just kind of ruins the music for me.
Sure, yeah.
So I don't know, and I'm old school, man. Like I said, I just turned 49. I like to be able to make out words here and there, you know what I
Yeah,
mean?
yeah. I'm the same way.
And and I told Jonathan up front, you know, it's not going to be the same thing that everybody else is doing because I don't want to sound like everybody else, you know.
Right.
So, and not to say that everybody does. I don't want to hear a bunch of shit on Facebook now. I'm not saying that.
I know
Like,
what you mean, yeah.
but I just don't want to fit into that specific pigeonhole. You know what I mean?
Sure, yeah.
And and so I took I think what would be music typically with that style of vocals and just like did my thing with it. But
Yeah.
it was rough, man. It was different because Jonathan's fucking madman and he doesn't believe in timing or anything like that.
He just
He's out
goes
of the
with it.
box, you know what I mean? And it's
Yeah.
like listening to the songs now, I'm like, man, this sounds like easy to follow.
Yeah.
And where without the drums that ended up being in it and the vocals to kind of like paint the picture of the song, you know what I mean?
Right.
It kind of like uh I think the vocals really kind of lent a timing to
Sure.
where there's very strange uh timing
Yeah.
going on.
Kind of
You know what I
keeps the
mean?
cadence in there a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. And I don't know if that's probably what not what Jonathan was after, but but I think it worked out well, you know, and
Yeah.
I dig it. And like out of all the releases I've ever done, like I usually give them a spin a few times, and I think this is the one I've listened to the most. Maybe it's just
Yeah.
because it's got 5 songs, but
Yeah, you
but
got
it's just like, man, I just been hammering it, and then I finally got my album yesterday, and I listened to it, and it was just like, damn, dude, I think we did a good job here, you know.
yeah.
And now I'm looking forward to writing new material, which he sent me already,
Nice.
and I can instantly now I'm already in his mindset, like I can hear it now. You know what
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean? Where before it took me a long time just to I had to go piece by piece and just it was different, man. And I think that's where growth
Yeah.
comes from, you know. I mean, if you stay in the same, you know, way,
Yeah.
you're never really gonna expand. You're not, you know. I mean, if anything, Gorgasm taught me that, you know,
Yeah.
going from old school death to to something that made me step on my game, you know. It's like
Yeah.
uh, this was just another like level up for me, you know, because it was rough, man. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was rough.
Yeah.
And I mean, I almost honestly, I don't even know if I told Jonathan this or not, but I at one point I was just like, I got a hold of Jimmy Javins, man,
Hmm.
because he's my buddy, man. I love that dude. Love you, Jimmy. Um, and I got a hold of him. I was like, man, I've been working on this. I don't want to do this guy wrong. Like I told him I'd do this stuff, but I was like, this seems like it's right up your alley. You know, I was gonna
Yeah.
pass it off like one or maybe 2 songs in, and Jimmy's like, yeah, man, sure, just send me whatever, you know, I'll check it out.
Yeah.
And then I forgot to, and then I started getting deadlines and shit, and I was like, man, I'm just gonna have to do this, you know,
Yeah.
and so that's why I ended up having Jimmy come do backups.
Oh
I thought
yeah.
that
Well,
was
that's
the nice touch. I wasn't
yeah.
anticipating that, and when he told me, because I know Jimmy from way back when, and
Yeah.
I was super happy to hear that he was a part of it. And I think it was also a nice touch to have another guy on it to add another flavor and characteristic to it.
Yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
I didn't tell him he was doing backups for the band I tried to give to him, but I'm glad I didn't. You know what I mean? Because
Yeah.
now it's just like, dude, I'm super down to start write like writing for like new music. You know,
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm ready to do this, and I think we've got um maybe our first show lined up. I talked to a guy in Lafayette, and them
Nice.
guys are all ready to get together over in Ohio and do some practicing and catch up new songs and get our timing down because we've never practiced as a band before. So
Right.
um, we're going to do that maybe late November, early December, and then trek on over to my town, and we'll probably do our first show there. So
Nice.
um,
Yeah, looking
yeah,
forward to that.
Hell
yeah.
yeah.
So I'm real excited about it. You know, it's like just haven't been like excited for a while. Like I kind of put everything on hold for a while,
Yeah.
and now I'm like, I probably ought to pick up my guitar and start writing some more sarcophagy.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, and I've got other projects like that are non-metal things
Right.
that I want to get back into. And it's like, man, this kind of like was the inspiration behind you know, it got me going again. So, you know,
Yeah.
stay in motion.
That's
And
right.
stuff.
I think it helps once you're inspired, just your mind just goes all over the place and you're like, well, now I can pick this back up or now I can do
Yeah,
this.
yeah.
Like it just takes a little spark sometimes, or just maybe since it took a little while and then once you realize the work you put in, then it kind of gives you that, you know,
The first
fulfillment
step's
for
always the
sure.
hardest,
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
you
for sure.
know, and then just after that, it's like I'm moving now.
Yeah. Now your brain's churning and you got the oil going, man. It's a pretty
I
cool
try to
thing.
do my music stuff in waves. Like I'll get
Yeah.
inspired or catch a little little bug, and then I'll ride that wave until it runs out of steam, and then I
Yeah,
just
yeah.
kind of set it down. It doesn't take long, but I don't really have a life outside of music. I do a lot of music stuff, so I mean it's something that I'm into at the moment. So I just kind of do that.
Hell yeah. Yeah, it's definitely something to be proud of and be excited about, and hopefully you guys get more shows lined up. So is all the members from different parts of the country, or like everybody's all separate?
Yeah, our drummer's in Ohio, I believe. For the longest time, I thought he was in Pennsylvania, but he's in Ohio.
Okay.
And then Anthony's in Indiana, right?
Mhm.
Indiana, and
Yep.
then me and Carlos are in Texas, but we're like 5 hours apart. Texas is pretty big.
Right, yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. So you actually just like you said, you got a place where you're all gonna actually practice, or you guys
Yeah,
gonna do it virtually
yeah.
kind of too?
So luckily, we're all recording savvy at home, and have
Yeah.
small like setups, and we're able to do scratch stuff at home and send it
Mhm.
back and forth. And then once we were finalized with the ideas, then we went ahead and went into the studio and knocked it all out.
Nice.
I did
Yeah.
most of my stuff at home, like all the kind of nudging and lining everything up. Angel from Flesh Hoarder, he did my tracking for me,
Nice.
and then Tony Tipton, he did the tracking for Anthony and Matt,
Hell
and
yeah.
then he did the mix and mastering, which I think he just
Yeah, that
killed it,
sounds
man.
great.
Yeah, it's insane. It was like I said, it far exceeded my expectations for sure.
Yeah. And it's just unique, especially with the, for brutal death metal, like the quality sounds really good. The vocals are unique to the style of like genre that it is. So it's definitely sticks out and sounds great. So yeah, it's it's fucking awesome. But usually the second half we do this, we get acclimated with the band and the members, and we just really just talk about death. That's kind of a common theme, obviously, why I love doing this is just getting, you know,
It's
perspective.
coming for us all.
Yeah. We live in a pretty chaotic world at this point and always really have, but it's nice to have perspective on things like that because it is going to happen, but really why death metal is important, I think, too. And people start to realize that down the road is like these people aren't crazy, it's just perspective, and it comes from all different perspectives of the world. So like really what is your guys' perspective as far as death, or like what is it that you can channels you to be able to write about these themes or perform in a band with these themes that really like kind of help you? Is it like positive reinforcement, or is it just kind of fun, or both?
For me, I'm an army vet, so I kind of got shot up in the desert, and
Mm,
I kind of suffer for some stuff like that, and
wow.
and so I always tell everybody when they ask me about it, I tell them that the chaos is soothing.
Yeah.
It just kind of relaxes me, and I'm kind of like black and white, real black and white, and music is kind of when I started learning how to play guitars. I haven't really been playing guitar that long, maybe what 11 or 12 years, something like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's, you know, kind of like in a box, black and white, you know, you got to do this and you do that. And the
Sure.
mechanics of it was just real easy for me. And then once I got involved in it later, then, you know, I started learning theory and whatnot. And so,
Sure.
but as far as, so, and then the technicality of the music, and then I'm an extremist. I don't do anything in moderation. So,
Right.
you know, now I'm seeing all of these cool designs and shirts, and the lyrical content is like super abrasive or, you know,
Yeah.
very derogatory, anti-Christ and stuff. And so, of course, and I have a real shock value type of sense of humor. And so I was just drawn to it pretty easily. And then, you know, I just kind of ventured off to it. And now
Yeah.
I'm to the point to where, I guess I'm kind of past some of that, the initial, you know, my initial, how I viewed it in the beginning. You know, I'm kind of, like I said, that initial view is kind of over, and now I'm kind of more on the where I can go with it.
Yeah.
And I'm still super intrigued with the instrument, and now that I can do more things, and I know a lot more, I can go further. But yeah, so I mean, I guess that's what sucked me into this kind of music. As far as the death stuff goes, I don't know. I guess I'm intrigued with how people are going to view me when I'm gone. I mean,
Yeah.
before I was just kind of a party animal, but now that that's kind of over, I kind of look back on it and I'm like,
What's
well,
that like?
you should have died a bunch of times, dude.
Yeah.
They wouldn't have had good things to say about you then, but now,
Right.
you know, now it's kind of like, well, you know, like I kind of want to leave I don't know if you would call it a legacy, but like I want something to, you know, that, you know, I can leave behind when it comes to the music. And so
Sure.
right now I'm after like albums and CDs and quality of those CDs. So that's kind of,
Absolutely. Yeah.
yep.
Awesome. Well, thank you for your service and for talking about it. So you were not a death metal fan, or were you like a metal fan before you
Didn't
joined the
even know what
military?
death metal was.
Wow. Nice. It's pretty cool. Uh, it's always weird for me how to, how I even got into it myself. It's just kind of basic. But Anthony, what about you? And we've probably talked about this a little bit before, but
Oh man, I don't know, man. Like I don't know what drew me to it. Just the aggressiveness.
yeah.
I mean, I grew up back when it was beginning, so
Mhm.
um, there was kind of just like, oh man, this is heavy. Listening to thrash and punk and
Yeah.
just things that just you're not going to hear it on the radio. You know what I mean? And
Right.
it's like it's not this mass fed, dumbed down music that and then once like death metal kind of started to blossom, it was just the sickest shit, man. It's
Yeah.
like I've always been a horror fan. I've always been, a fan of the macabre and just fucked up shit.
Yeah.
I don't know why, and then it was my thoughts on death. I don't know, man. It's like, what do you like? People that find it offensive, it just makes me laugh, kind of, because I can see where people might get offended by some of the lyrics or the lyrical content, but it's like, have you ever watched a horror movie?
Right.
Like you said, man, it's all perspective,
Yeah.
and my perspective is like all these people that are so fucking uptight and just bitching and complaining about things that don't even fucking affect
Yeah.
their life.
Exactly. Yeah.
People, you know what I mean? And it's like, listening to this song, you could be that person in that song. It could be fucking worse. You know what I mean? Your
Yeah.
life's not that bad.
Yeah.
Fucking quit bitching about it and quit bitching about other people. Quit focusing on what I'm doing. And
Yep.
because anything I do doesn't affect your life, man. I could put out 20 fucking albums and that you don't like and you don't agree with. And guess what? It doesn't affect your life. So
Right.
fuck off. Go do whatever the fuck you want. Let us do our thing. You know.
Amen. It's the most
And,
metal
and it's
thing you could
that
say.
aggression that I get when I fucking start thinking about people like that is released through this kind of
Yeah.
music. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Every time I played live, man, I felt like I think sometimes in the beginning I felt like bigger than
Yeah.
what I really am. But now it's like it's I feel this insignificance and the insignificance of everything that everybody's doing is my favorite feeling that I've ever got. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Kind of, you know, been doing the psychedelics for fucking 30 years. So,
Yeah.
um, like Jonathan said, like you make your mark. I mean, I understood that, and but it's also like this fucking planet's not even gonna be around, you know. The sun's gonna fucking implode at some point, and nothing that anybody does is gonna make a fucking bit of difference. So do what makes you happy. Fuck what other people think. Fuck
Exactly.
what other people want you to do. Like my girlfriend has just changed my way of thinking in a lot of ways, like how we're just so brainwashed to think a
Yeah.
certain way, do things a certain way. And what it comes down to is, man, what makes you happy?
Yeah.
And as fucked up as it is, I guess, for other people to think, uh, this music makes me happy.
Yeah.
And playing it makes me even more happy. Like I listen to death metal, probably like 20% of the music that I listen to.
Right.
I that's all it's where when I was 15, it was 100%.
Yeah. Same here. Yeah.
And it's like, but playing it, mm, I don't know, man. It
There's
just
nothing like it.
it, it just does something to you, man. It lets you release things. It lets you put things into perspective. And you're hoping that the people that are there that are enjoying it and actually showed up, like you're hoping that they get that too.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
like, I don't know. I like to ramble.
Well, no, we appreciate it. Yeah. Usually after I perform, I get
That
the,
ramble was brought to you
oh,
by Terrapin Imperial Ale.
that's some good shit right there.
Got the iced
That's
coffee
what I
going
had
on over here.
last night.
Yeah. There you go.
What you got?
The
You
big
guys got
gulp.
their big gulps? All
Iced
right.
coffee. Yeah.
Yeah. We have
Yeah,
7-Elevens
whatever
now.
coffee I don't drink in the morning, I put it in the refrigerator, and so at the end of the day, I got some cold coffee to drink.
Nice.
You know what I've been fucking loving about this whole podcast is I know damn well Jonathan's got a fucking microphone on his computer, but he'd rather hold that microphone in his
No, I
hand.
don't, because I have the
He's so
interface. I have the
phallic.
interface.
Dude, every time we talk, there's something about dicks going on.
He looks more like the host than I do. He's up there like, well,
No,
okay.
I don't. If I don't have this, there's no way that because I have the audio running through all the interviews. This is where I do all my recording in this.
Yeah. I hear
That
you.
bitch.
We just need to get you an
Man,
arm,
I haven't
you
even
know, for
really
the
listened to anything anybody said. I just keep watching Jonathan with that microphone. I'm like, yeah, buddy.
doing the Bob Barker, you know.
I figured you'd show up in a onesie for this thing,
I thought about dressing up.
Where you
Yeah,
at,
yeah, you
buddy? Where
should.
I
you
got
at?
I got a bunch of onesies, all kinds of
Oh,
fucking weird shit.
that would have
Hell
been
yeah.
Bunch of different
incredible.
hats, masks. Oh yeah,
We have a little more time. You can go put one on real quick.
you never know, man. I got a
Rest
banana
it.
hammocks. I got the
Ah,
fucking
shit.
the male bikini with
Nice.
the
I
straps.
messaged Braxton earlier. He just hit me up. And I
Yeah.
was trying to find out what the podcast is all about because I guess he's been on yours, right?
Yeah.
And I didn't know you're the same guy from when we were in Atlanta or some shit. I can't remember
Yeah.
where the
That was
fuck
forever
we were.
ago.
Yeah, we're in Gorga doing that podcast with you before. So
Yeah.
this is one I was telling you about, John. It was like a 2 hour long podcast.
So it's
They
the
were
same guy.
drunk. Yeah, there. It was me and a co-host, so I'm like the other guy, not the
Hell
louder.
yeah. Is that the other one that's on your site? There was another K-pop metal guy. Who's that guy?
No, that's me. That's like my YouTube page. So that's
Okay.
a weird thing I do, but yeah, it's fun. So I oddly do this shit, and then I can transition and be like, oh, I like K-pop too. So
Dude, I listen to all kinds of weird shit.
Yeah, I was
Watch all
trying
kinds
to
of
I
weird
was trying to
shit.
find out like how long it was going to be and like
Yeah.
what do you guys talk like just trying to get some information on it.
Sure.
Usually I like to study up on
It's good
what
to
I'm
do
doing before I
research.
do it, but I've
Yeah.
been so busy lately. It was like and
Yeah.
he didn't tell me about it till yesterday. So
Yeah, it was like very last minute. I
Yeah,
didn't.
and
Yeah, I
Braxton's
know
the
everybody's
shit
kind of
too.
busy. So.
I love
oh
that
dude,
guy.
I love Braxton, man. He's
Yeah.
a good dude.
He's one of my first guests on this new podcast. So yeah, he's the shit. It's very, very humble, very knowledgeable about everything, and just a all around cool guy to talk to. So yeah, definitely shout out to him. And Between the Killings is very good. Another very good EP that came out. So for sure.
Oh yeah, man. Like they're doing pretty good things with that.
Mm-hmm. Got a lot of good
He's
shit.
moved on. He's also got another project going on too.
Yeah, he's been doing a lot of shit
Violence
lately.
Only, I think it's called.
Yeah. He's killing it, man. But yeah, getting
Good stuff. It's good to see other people, progressing and doing better.
absolutely. just keeping death metal fun and strong and new, like just having newer projects come out. Like I said, this new project just sounds like Castrated. It sounds unique. It's something fresh. It's nice to have that in death metal because it does get so just congested sometimes, or like seems like it all sounds the same. So it, and I listen to everything. I try out every band at least once that I see. If like you even remotely have a disgusting album cover or cool logo, I'm gonna give it a shot, without knowing shit about it. But obviously I knew about Castrated already, which is why I wanted you guys on for sure. But yeah, it's definitely something new, and I can, it's not anything I've heard, at least not in a long time. So uh, very
I've heard,
much.
had a lot of people say it was a lot different. It was a breath of, somebody says, like a breath of fresh air from
Oh,
all of the
absolutely.
other same sounding,
Yeah.
CDs that have been coming out. I
Yeah,
thought that
man.
was a
Yeah,
good
man.
compliment.
Like I said before, it's Jonathan's baby, man. He like I said, it is like something I warmed up to,
Yeah.
and now like most of the bands that I absolutely love, like at first either I didn't get it, you know what I mean,
Yeah.
and then it just kind of like it come up again or something. I'm like, I don't know now, you know. Like some of my favorite bands I didn't like when I first heard them and shit, and it was kind of that way with Jonathan, and now it's just like I'm craving it. The dude's
Yeah.
fucking. He did a hell of a job.
Yeah.
I didn't have to fucking message him and be like, "Hey, can you play this one more time?" or "Can you do this a little bit different here?" Like, I just fit my shit to what he wrote, and that was
Yeah.
it. And that's a first.
Yeah.
And like I said, it was difficult for me before. It was my shit. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
Right.
It was like I needed to open up and start looking at things through fucking Jonathan's eyes. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And yeah, and as soon as Matt and Carlos came aboard, dude, like I was there when Matt trapped drums, and it was crazy, dude. That dude is a fucking beast. He's an
Yeah.
animal, and Carlos is a badass, man. He fucking compliments this band so well. And from the initial recordings, scratch guitars and a little bit of robo bass or whatever,
Yeah.
or robo drums. We like it. It took shape before I had to finish writing some of the stuff. You know what I mean? So
Yeah.
the drums really changed the last. And I went back and rewrote a few things, and I had like 2 weeks to do it before I got to the studio after Matt. And
Damn.
I rewrote some things after he laid down his drum tracks because it really like paved a different way.
Yeah.
I mean, it was almost the same but different.
Yeah, he said he kept a lot of the same beats, but changed like a lot of the transitions and stuff, which I liked a lot. And then there was a couple parts in there that he changed that I liked so much that I went back and redid what I was doing. I still played the same thing, but just kind of like added a different technique to it,
Yeah.
and it helped out a lot too. So Matt gets a little bit of credit for changing some of the.
Absolutely, man. Matt's a fucking animal.
Yeah, it was hard for me because I've been listening to the songs with the drums that I had written for so many years.
Right.
Matt kind of changed some stuff up. I ain't gonna lie, it took me a couple of minutes to kind of get on board with some of the stuff. It was just
Yeah.
hard to let go of one thing and move to the other.
Sure.
But
Yeah.
now that time has taken its toll on that, and yeah, it's. I'm glad that some of the stuff that I didn't initially like in the beginning that we kept, and it's my opinion has changed a lot.
Oh yeah.
I think it's the only album I've ever been a part of where I didn't want to go back and re-record some shit or do something different. You know what I
Yeah.
mean?
It's a good thing.
I mean, I always want to. Trust
Yeah.
me. I could do better than that, or I should have done this. But this is the one where I was like, no, man, this shit fits.
Yeah.
You know, I think it's good, man. Like I was happy with it. I'm still happy with it. So
Good. Yeah. Yeah. I think from what I've heard, everything is where it should be. It all makes sense. It's
I'm just
fluid. It
looking forward
sounds
to the
good. It's
next.
nasty.
Very flowing.
Yeah. It all flows together pretty good. What was my favorite one? It was yeah, forcible oral sodomy. Jesus Christ, that
Yeah.
song.
Right on.
It's
It's a
stupid.
catchy one. It's catchy.
Yeah. It's just stupid. Like I don't. That's one where I almost have to pull over when I listen to it in my car. I was like, holy shit! I gotta. Hopefully, I'm coming to a traffic light for a second because I need to like just like jam the. That was
Dude, I
crazy.
was driving all over the road once I got that album.
Yeah. That's when you know you have a good one is when it kind of changes how you drive. Like I'll realize it's like I'm going 80 right now. I need to slow the fuck down because I'm just like gripping the steering wheel like, oh man. and albums don't really hit me as hard as that often, so it's nice to have that. And that's like on it, being honest. Like doing this, I listen to a lot of music. I respect all the bands. Love, I only reach out to the ones I really like and want to talk to. And everyone that I've had on has had great shit come out. But like this is definitely one of the best ones for sure.
Thank you, brother.
Oh, yeah,
Yeah,
man, I appreciate
absolutely.
that.
We appreciate it, man. Thanks,
Yeah.
thanks for the support.
Oh no, anytime, man.
And we'll
And
definitely be supporting you tomorrow or
yeah,
whenever you send this out.
yeah,
We'll post
I'm
it for
kind of
that.
backlogged right now with shit I got to get up because I've been so busy lately with other shit. But yeah, I'm probably just gonna go ahead and put this one up quick and then do the other ones. But there's a few
Appreciate that.
more.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Since this just came out, I kind of wanted to, the other ones had releases a little further out, or they had been out for a while, and I just kind of got them on. So not too urgent about it, but don't want to keep anyone waiting on any of these. But sometimes you get kind of far behind on it because I'm definitely not doing as many interviews as I was doing for Phantasm. We were doing like way too many for what we were doing. So this is more just for me and to have fun and promote bands I actually really like and not just because the label's like, you want to do this? I'm like, no, like I don't do that anymore. I reach out when I want to do stuff and get who I want to talk to. And plus, with it being a niche content like strictly death metal, it helps too, and I like talking to more of the underground bands and um, that need more just conversation and exposure with fans and with, people in general. They're more interesting to me, because everyone else has talked to all the bigger bands and always does. This is an opportunity just to get perspective from people that generally have, you can relate to more and have open conversations with that aren't so busy with like touring constantly and going to
Boring and
festivals.
other
Yeah.
obligations that
Right.
pull them away. I understand.
And
Yeah.
that can change kind of how you feel about doing so many interviews. And I know a lot of these bands do interviews like, God, like probably 30, 40 a day or some shit. Like it's crazy. So, like, I get how it works. I've been doing this like 8 or 9 years working and
Doing
interviewing
that many
bands.
just kind of seems like monotonous, and you just go through the motions. Where if you
Exactly,
do
yeah. And
fewer
and
ones,
that's
a little bit
not
more
their
personal.
fault really. It's like just the way that the industry works. So that's why I like more underground shit because you guys actually still enjoy what you're doing. Not to say they don't, but like, you know, you guys are very selective. You're constantly writing. You're trying to get some shows done, but you guys have a lot of shit going on in your personal life where that's more still your thing. So, um,
Yeah, we're gonna try to do some select stuff next year. I think we're either gonna do
yeah,
like a Midwest thing, or we're gonna try to do one stateside run, and then we got some plans to go overseas and do
hell
some stuff
yeah,
over there. So
Yeah,
two
we're
absolutely,
big,
working on it. We're
yeah,
working on it
two of
for
those.
sure.
Those are the two big things. Anything in between, very select.
nice,
That we're gonna get together and work on the new stuff for the full length as well as the touring next year. And we're like, well,
right,
we're all gonna be together. We might as well play.
yeah,
So I'm glad that we were able to throw together something here at the end of the year. Have close out there. All that work finally. Have some fun at the end.
absolutely. Are you guys playing Maryland Death Fest next year, or did I imagine that?
Huh. I don't
Well,
know,
if you
man.
can hook us up,
I know Gorgasm is, which is cool.
Yeah,
But
yeah, yeah.
you
it'd
can
be
put
cool
us
to
on
have
the show.
Castrated. Yeah, I can. I'm in all the groups where they do
God,
that. Where they
who runs that? Sean? Who runs?
Ryan.
Ryan. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. I
yeah.
mean, I hate hitting people up, being like, "Hey, can we get on your show?" You know what I mean? But
I'll
Yeah,
start spamming the page because I'm in one of the official group
I
on
think maybe we
Facebook
need to
that
get
he
out there.
moderates, so I can just like start being like, "How about Castrated?" Because
Yeah, we just need to get out there and start doing some shows, and
yeah,
then
yeah,
yeah,
whatever will come. I mean, I played Gasm for a while before we played Maryland.
right, yeah,
There's a sixth show.
yeah,
Maryland Death Fest is awesome.
yeah. The way they have
yeah,
it
man.
set up now is so much better too. Like when I went this, just a few months ago was great. So
Yeah.
Yeah, that setup is insane. I love watching those videos.
yeah, yeah.
I want to do that and Obscene Extreme. Those are like my two.
That's like I want to go to
That's my
that so
two.
bad. So maybe next year if I can
Never been there.
do
I'd love
enough
to do
with
that.
this, try to push it to where I can do some overseas shit because I got,
Yeah.
I would love to cover some festivals because Maryland Death Fest, I mean, you can, but they don't offer press pass stuff. If I'm going overseas, I would kind of feel like I don't want to pay for a festival. I will, but it'd be nice to be able to go out there and do some coverage, but it's hard to do. There's not a lot of U.S. festivals. There's only like a few of them, so
Not like that. The open air stuff. No.
yeah,
I
yeah,
played that Nice to Ichi one year, and it was
yeah.
fun. That was my first first overseas show, first outside, or well, it was an inside fest, but
Yeah.
where you got people camping out and shit, and
Sure, yeah.
it was insane. And I love the countryside over there. It's incredible.
Oh, I bet, yeah.
Hell, I didn't want to come back.
My first overseas show was the last Mountains of Death they had.
Oh
No
my
shit.
God, you
Wow.
suck.
Nice.
That's in the mountains of Switzerland, right?
Yeah. And
Yeah.
Internal Bleeding played right before us.
Good God.
Them dudes are my dude. I love them dudes. And
I do
fuck
too,
Chris.
Yeah.
Chris is cool. I'll be
Every time
spamming
I go anywhere in their direction, man, like they're always fucking totally cool. Even their ex members,
Yeah.
will show up to your show and they'll like I fucking toured around New York, fucking drinking with one of them. I ain't gonna say who, but anyway, like I seen Chris not too long ago, dude. Fucking 100% greatest dude ever.
Hell
I
yeah.
grew up listening to that shit. I played my first sarcophagi show at the Wisconsin
Nice.
Milwaukee Death Fest.
Oh, yeah.
And
Old
Internal
school.
Bleeding played that year too, dude, and it
Hell
was
yeah.
just sick as hell. We ended up both.
I was talking to Anthony. He was like, I think that guy got tired of me rambling. And
No, I was really
disconnected.
afraid he would think that, man. No.
I told him about it because
Yeah.
I know these Zoom things cost money, right?
Yeah, that's why I just get the 40 minutes, but I know a lot of times it goes over, so I didn't want to interrupt him, so I was just like, well, it's probably hopefully he stops for like a second, so I'll be like, hey, it's about to close out, but I'm gonna try to restart it.
I told him about it. Yeah, I'm familiar with the Zoom, so I told him about it, and he was like,
Is he gonna come back on in a second?
I don't know. I can ask him. He said he didn't start working. He didn't start work till noon.
Word.
Hey, let me call him.
Yeah, I wanted to hear the rest of the story and talk about Internal Bleeding because I love that band too. So like, that was highlight of the conversation almost.
Hey man, he sent another link. You want to get back on here?
Got a fresh 15 minutes.
Okay. All right, I'll let him know. No worries. I told him you had to go back to work and everything too. So.
Word.
It's all good, bro.
Yeah. Well, thank him for his time for sure, because that was great.
What, you want to make out with him? Yeah. Now you left. Now I'm gonna start talking shit. All right, man. Do your thing. All right, man. I'll talk to you later. All right, bye. Yeah, he didn't start work till noon, and then he said he was leaving. It was funny because he told him it was his birthday yesterday, and I was like, "Oh man, you're gonna get the wifey drunk and do some Yeah. And he was like, "No, we don't do that no more. When you're this old, it's just another day." And then today he's like, "Oh, I got fucked up and didn't go to work till noon." And I'm like, "What was all that bullshit yesterday?"
You get a couple drinks, and then he turns into more than that.
Same thing, man. Shit, I do. Don't give me no alcohol. I'll do some weird shit.
What's that orange Ibanez? That looks sick behind you there.
Man, that's my my main one. 3250.
It's nasty. Hell yeah.
Oh yeah, man.
Love it.
I bought it from some guy named Rob, but he I don't know if he needed money or what, man, but he sold it real cheap, and I jumped on it real quick. And I don't know if you ever heard of a band called Ice 9 Kills.
Absolutely, yeah.
That's the guitar player's signature artist model.
No shit.
Yeah, the guy that I bought it from him, and then he sold it to me. And then
nice.
I kept it basically the same. I put a new pickup in it, and then I changed the brass the block in the back to thinking it was gonna help. It didn't really do much, but dude, I love that instrument. It totally changed the way I play, and it's the neck. I don't know. They have some kind of special truss rod in it. Dude, the fucking neck is just
nice. Yeah.
So
now he's a phenomenal guitar player, and that's a band I didn't think I would be into, but like I saw them live once, and they were great. Like the very theatrical with the horror stuff, and it was actually really neat. So mad respect for them for sure. And they opened for Metallica. I mean, that's crazy. So I mean,
I didn't know who
good
they
for
were,
them.
and I went searching for it and looked through a lot of their videos, and yeah, man, he's a fantastic guitar player. I like watching the gear videos and stuff and talking about
Yeah, oh yeah. As much as I'm not,
go ahead.
I said as much as I'm not really that much of I would say I would consider myself a guitar player, but I do play. I'm definitely kind of like a gearhead too, because I like watching that shit.
Yeah. get ideas and stuff. I've spent so much money over the years on gear. It's just insane.
Yeah.
I had a buddy come over to help me dial in this processor that I had. And I was like, man, I just can't get it to sound good. And he was like, did you ever think about practicing? Put me in my place. I was
Yeah.
like, what?
Wow.
But he was right. I was worried about gear, and I didn't practice at all. And so
Mhm.
now I'm kind of the opposite. I'm real basic. I plug this thing directly into my Ingle, and
Sure. Yeah.
that's all I do now.
Yeah.
I
Angles
don't
are
care
nice
about
too. Yeah. A lot of the practicing is getting acclimated to the gear and how it all works and what sound you want it to come out of it and how to manipulate it really
Yep.
and just make it your own thing. And it's kind of hard to do. You just have to know what you want. You find something like, oh, that's it. Yeah, I got it now. Kind of
Yeah, I've been.
perfecting the gear itself and to your liking, I guess. So it's fun, but it's kind of sometimes it's a little nerve-wracking because you feel there's so much to it that you can do with it, and
You
but
change
yeah,
one thing, and it affects another, and then you
yep.
change it, and then
And
it affects
you
another.
fuck
It's
it
just
up,
like
and then you're like,
fucking
well, how did I
crazy.
have it before? So like just starting to record my own stuff, like using Reaper and all that. That's a big learning curve to learn all the different modules for that and plugins, and I'm still learning that, but it's a fun process. It's rewarding to know that you're learning new shit and can find new things.
Yeah, this project, I have another one before I did called Fisted, and then I have
I like
another one called
Fisted, yeah.
and then Deprecatory. That's the
Mhm.
next one. It's all with some European guys, but these are the first projects that I did, like kind of like some of it myself. Like I did all Fisted and all Deprecatory. Angel, like I said earlier, helped me out with the castrated stuff. But yeah,
Yeah.
man, it's just frustrating in the beginning, and I didn't know anything about computers, dude. And, yeah, after a while, man, you're right. It's rewarding.
Yeah, because you're like, hey,
I
I
think
figured this
some
shit
of the
out.
guys, yeah, yeah. So
Well,
what kind of stuff are you doing?
I'm in a kind of like a slam band right now, but I just do the vocals for that. Um, but
What's the
then
name of it?
Truck Stop Dick Pill.
Nice.
So we're just for fun, we're
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
thematically and just have fun. It's just doing guttural shit and just making people move around. So it's been a fun little side project for another, like my friends that are in another band or other bands, like the drummer and guitarist. They're all in different bands, so this is kind of their little fun break from that, their serious stuff. And I didn't have anything going on. I haven't been in bands forever, so like I've only just the last thing I did was like a studio project, and that was all over the place, but it was really good. And then as far as guitar, I'm just doing like some kind of like basic, just hardcore project. Um, but I want it to be more like crossover. Like I really like old Sepultura and shit like that. So that's kind of what that influence is. So I've just been writing riffs, and I got like some MIDI drum software, so I can just write to the drums off that and not wait on a drummer to learn stuff. And you know, this project's really just to get other members that are better at guitar than me to play.
I
To
get it.
kind of like, get a package going so they could be like, oh, I see what you're going for. Well, hey, I got these ideas for this. I'm like, okay, yeah. Because I would much rather just do vocals, but I like writing guitar too. So, um, but I know it could definitely be better with the right people for the
I
vision I
understand.
actually have for it. So, but as I'm doing it, the more I'm doing it, the better I'm getting at guitar. So, like, I kind of like just writing it myself, to be honest.
Yeah, I tried to learn how to write drums in the beginning when I was in my one of my original first bands, and I was always real terrible at it, and
Yeah.
so I've gotten pretty good at it now. And
Nice.
so it's cool because you can, one helps you, improve the other, and before you know, you get on to something, and you're like, I don't know if I want somebody to mess this up.
Yeah.
But yeah, as far as other people, man, I've been lucky. I somehow surrounded myself with a lot of people that were a lot better than I was, and I don't
Yeah.
know if they realized how crappy of a guitar player I was in the beginning.
Yeah.
And so I've been fortunate. I've been around people that were a lot better than me, and so
Yeah. Well, you
it's
feed
paid
off
off in
of it.
the end.
Yeah, for
Yeah, it's
sure.
paid off in the end. Yeah,
You feed off of it. It makes you work harder, makes them work harder, puts you on track where it's like, you can always
yeah,
have that person to fall back on and be like, hey, well, you can write something like this, and I got this. That's kind of where I'm going with it. And they can like perfect your ideas a little better And it elevates you for sure, and like where your talent can go, because it's not like they're better because they have more experience, but I mean, you can always put in that amount of experience. Some people, though, I swear, they just were born to be
Insane.
insane on guitar, and I think
And they
some
don't
people
even
are just
care about
yeah, some
it. It's
people are
just like,
just
oh
born they
yeah,
can
it's
just
just
play.
something.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So there's some anomalies out there that maybe they practice a long time, but they're like savants or something. They were born to do it, and that's crazy to think about. But or some people are classically trained, piano most of their life when they're younger, got guitar when they were like 11 and been playing ever since. And, you know, very blues jazz influenced people that like, man, they can just like shred on guitar. So it all really depends. Like if you get into guitar late, like I did, and didn't really put enough time into it, I don't consider it to where I suck at guitar. I'm just like, oh, I'm not that experienced with guitar because I haven't put all the work into it. So I have, more of a vocalist, but I do like to. The more I have been practicing recently, I've noticed like how better I've gotten. Even other people that are in bands where I've showed them the stuff I've been writing, they're like, you've gotten a lot better. And I'm also left-handed, so I'm so used to playing on my friends' guitars upside down. So I kind of learned backwards a little bit.
Yeah,
So now that I have my own actual lefty, it's been a lot easier to write and learn things than just upside down all the damn time trying to
dude,
jam with
I could
people.
imagine doing that.
Yeah, doing it the Hendrix way or the Doyle Bramall way. They just play upside down on purpose. Like I'd rather not. It's so it just doesn't sound right.
Seems complicated.
Yeah. But yeah, it's enjoyable. It's fulfilling to just write in general, not just write lyrics and vocal patterns. It's nice to have some guitar going there. And drums I can't write as much as I hear it in my head all the time. I can't. It's hard for me to program or put that out
Never
on
do ever
paper.
think I would be a drummer.
Yeah. It's like I just need a drummer, just get basic
Let's get
beats.
somebody. Chop
Yeah.
chop.
I had a
Get it.
couple people interested, but it's always like, yeah, I'm still kind of working. I was like, well, I'm trying to get this thing just out there, so I'll just MIDI track it and get some basic drums, and
Yeah.
I can just play over it, and then there you go. So there's plenty of for those of you listening that want to start projects but don't want to wait on drummers because they're pretty hard to find. Just get some like there's plenty of metal MIDI drum packages you can buy and just plug it in and just start writing over top of it. Because once I have a drummer, I can write so much easier with like a rhythm or a tempo. If I'm just writing riffs, they're just gonna be riffs, and then they're not the same when you don't have a beat underneath them. So
Yeah, it always helps when you have an idea of what you want to sound like, especially when you give it to somebody else.
yeah, absolutely. And then if a drummer was interested, it's like, hey, this is just to get songs out. But if you want to write the drums how you want to do it, by all means. Do it the way you want to do it. This is just like a blueprint for what I really want the band to be kind of thing. So hopefully something comes of it. We'll see. But
There's
either
a lot of
way,
guys out there. There's a lot of guys out there.
yeah. And they're all in other bands. So yeah, it's one of those
Unfortunately,
things.
that's the truth.
You just gotta make something interesting enough where they're willing to put a little time into it. Because it's for guitarists and drummers, they put in way more time than I do. I pretty much just have to wait till they get something solid so I can put vocals to it. And I've been doing that so long, it doesn't take me very long to write to songs and get patterns down. Like I always have ideas for everything. So, um, but yeah, they have to work way harder, and it takes longer for that. So luckily, hardcore isn't really that hard. So, no pun intended, but it's pretty simple compared to some of the shit I've tried to start. Like death metal is not easy
Mm-mm.
to play at all. Like
I've
even
been to
the
some
slower
hardcore
kind.
shows and those guys go insane, man. Them
Yeah,
people get
yeah,
knocked the fuck out.
yeah. It's a lot of fun. I like going to shows like that. Just the camaraderie. People are just having so much fun beating the shit out of each other. And now that more death metal bands are kind of jumping into that scene also now, which I think it was the way it used to be. I'm younger, but the crowds used to be a lot more united, and then for a long time they were kind of like separated in separate scenes, but now it seems like the hardcore scene definitely embraces death metal bands a lot more nowadays, and it's good to see because the crowds are crazy when they happen. They beat the shit out of each other, the death metal bands, just as much as they do the hardcore bands. So it's fun. It's a wild to see, but it's cool. So like when I saw Obituary at LDB Fest, which is a huge hardcore fest, like the crowd after they played bum rushed the stage and like gave them a ovation. Like it was insane, like praising them like these guys are gods, and they kind of influence what modern hardcore is now. So it kind of derives from like some of those old school death metal bands. So it was cool to see that. I'd never really seen that before with hardcore. So it was nice. So hopefully, the one I'm writing, I'm trying to incorporate a little bit of death metal in there because that's what I know and what I'm good at. So, you try to conquer both sounds, I guess.
Capitalize on what you can do well, and then try to slide some new stuff in, and incorporate.
Not doing anything that's already been done or trying to have a certain sound to a certain band, just writing what I think sounds cool. But yeah, I think it'll probably cut us off again here in a second. So I guess real quick, it's been awesome talking to you, and
Cool,
I
man.
appreciate you.
I like this is my first podcast ever, so I had a
No
good time.
shit. Yeah, I
first
appreciate
one
you
ever.
coming back on, and apologize for cutting off earlier. Hopefully,
That's cool.
appreciate Anthony a lot for coming back on. It's been a long time since I talked to him.
Yeah.
So, Surgical Vicissitude is out now on Comatose Music, the new Castrated EP, debut EP. They've been working on it a long time. It's finally here. So go check it out. Hit up their socials. I'll put all the links below. And it's been awesome talking to you. I really appreciate your time. And
Awesome, man. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
a pleasure.